In this tutorial, I am going to use Lisa's information, but with my name and image, to create this financial analyst forecasting profile so that we are getting the right jobs. Now, we've already built the resume, we've identified financial analyst positions that uses forecasting, so we already have the resume built for this position, and now we can create a matching LinkedIn profile. One of the things that I covered is you can only run one profile at a time. So this may look different from an optimized perspective from the controller type of profile that we might want to pursue with Lisa, and in this case I'm using me as a test environment once again. Okay, one of the things you're going to notice here is add a photo, and for those that have an account already with LinkedIn or that are building, I want you to go get professional photography, because if you want to increase your wages and also reach six figures or maintain six figures, you want to make sure that you have professional photography that matches your goal. So find a photographer in your area and go ahead and get that great profile going. Now you'll see here that it has its own cropping device. A LinkedIn profile is 200 by 200 pixels, but it'll let you, whatever photo you put in there, it will go ahead and allow you to crop it. Okay, so there's a crop photo. We've got that going. Now, LinkedIn, when you're building out your profile, it will ask you different questions up top. Don't worry about adding a background photo. And for the moment, you can either go and use this method, or we can just go down below and start filling it out. Especially for those that already have a LinkedIn, this makes the most sense to show you how to do it from this perspective. So I'm going to leave right now Financial Analyst at Audio Systems. When I created the dummy account, it asked me my title and where I worked. So it pre-filled in the headline. That's what this is. We will be changing that, but for the moment, let's go with it. Now, right now, it has it set for Cleveland, because that's where I live, but remember Lisa was in Columbus, so I'm going to have to change this to a Columbus zip code, and I'm going to have to find that. Hold on, let me grab, I'm going to go ahead and Google this. So, and if you're changing geographic areas, then you may have to Google a zip code to find out what to put in here if you want to do a different geographic search. Okay, so it's 43085. I might want to normally do better research on this, but for now let's leave it. Here's another critically important section of your optimized profile: industry. One of the challenges that we have with LinkedIn is it doesn't have an option for industry and profession. Those actually are two different things. Industry is usually the type of business you're working in. Is it a manufacturer? Is it banking? Is it financial services? While what it really is asking here is your profession or your industry. It's almost like it only gives you one choice. In the case of Lisa, we want to choose accounting, even though she's not working for an accounting firm right now, but that makes the most sense. It's the most likely thing that a recruiter is going to search for. And for those that are in less obvious types of roles, like for instance, I just worked with someone in social media marketing, so we've got marketing and advertising, market research. There actually isn't a great match for that. It's going to be one of these two, but he was working in the banking industry. I wouldn't want to choose banking because he's not a banker. He's a marketer. So I really want you to select profession here instead of industry, unless you really can't find a good fit. But this is something you're going to have to play with to make sure you identify the right role that matches what that recruiter is going to look for. We have to think about what the recruiter is thinking. So right now we're going to save it, because with Lisa, it's pretty straightforward. So these two areas, the city and this industry profession, are two of the most critical fields here, because it's something that the recruiter is going to search for. The headline is not something, it can have keywords in it, and when they click on the profile they may want to see those keywords. We're going to want a powerful headline for other reasons, but it is not the most important part of this profile. Okay, so now we want to go down here. I do want to add a summary. You guys remember that we have the title bar and we have the line of what, like, requirements. Even though this is broad and not necessarily going to match the exact job depending on who's looking at it, I want you to take the resume that you did for the position that you targeted and paste the title bar, the summary of skills, and the skill highlights right into the summary, because this is going to help with our keyword matching. Very important. So go ahead and save. And this is why it's so nice when you have the resume done, because you can just plow through this thing and set up this profile lickety-split. Don't worry right now about presentation, video, links, photos, documents. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about uploading your resume, because that's not how LinkedIn works. At least for LinkedIn, uploading your resume is not the most important thing to do. So now we have experience. Of course, when I created the dummy account, it asked me for my title and my most recent employer, but it didn't ask for time period. So we're going to go ahead and start editing this. Now, you can put location in here, although it's not critically important, because from a search perspective, it's the location up top that's important. But this title is very important. We want this to match not necessarily the last title that we had, but we want it to match our goal so that we are getting calls. Now you might say, well, that doesn't make sense because it doesn't match. Go ahead and add in, what, basically this becomes a functional title, but I want that title in there, and add in your true title, okay? So I know that this is a little bit bizarre, but the point is we're trying to get a recruiter to see us, to find the profile to begin with, and that's going to happen by this title. So it's very, very important that the most recent title reflect, at least in part, what we're going for. And then once you send your resume, that can be cleared up. Alright, so now we have this, so period. I'm just going to go ahead and choose January instead of the month. Now, 2003 to present, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and paste in. I mean, if you have your resume done right there, boom, you just paste it in. You have it optimized. The resume was written to the job ad and to this type of profile. It's great. Everything is ready to go. It's so easy to make your profile. All right, now it prompts you to add a position. So we're going to add Lisa's next position, which was, okay, she was a treasurer for accounting. So let's go there. Broward County Government. She was, I'm probably going to, this is the other thing. Oh wait, I put that in the wrong place. You want to let it find titles that match, because once again, this is what the recruiters are going to use. So we want to make sure we're using the system exactly the way the recruiters use the system. It's 2001. Once again, I'm making up the month here. You're going to want to use the correct months. I go to my resume, I copy and paste this section straight out of the resume. Now, one of the things you're going to notice here is this is a pretty small job description, and the reason is a lot of what Lisa did there does not match the position that she's going for financial analyst. So I only selected the stuff that matches. And this becomes even more important because the position that I really want highlighted, okay, so I'm going to go here. It's got the most recent. It put it in order, so it has the years right. Now we're going to add another position. The reason I love this next position is because, number one, it really captures the title. But number two, okay, so it's financial analyst. It's actually forecast analyst. Let's see if what we get here. We're going to put in forecast. Forecast analyst, boom. Awesome. Okay, then it was for Mitsubishi. And why this is important is because the company that she ended up working for was a car company. They actually did commercial fleets. It wasn't your maybe typical user type of thing. And she only worked there for a year, but so what? It's a direct hit match. It's exactly what she was doing. All right, so we're just going to do, I'm going to do December to December 2001. Okay. All right, so we've got that. We're going to save that. That's great. All right, the next one, we have another title down here that was an accounting analyst. So this is what you do. You add in, I certainly recommend 10 years of experience. You could go a little further back, but 10 years is a good idea. Okay, we're going to stop with this right now, but I think you get the picture. You just paste that stuff right in there. You've already done all the work. Look at that. It's beautiful. Okay, now we need to go back up. See these boxes up here? This helps us. If you view more, you'll see more boxes. Let's talk about the boxes for a second. I don't really want you to worry about volunteer, although volunteering, like they say, 1 in 5 managers hire someone because of their volunteer experience. That is true. It's not that important, though, for your LinkedIn profile. It might be something you want to highlight more on your resume, because once the recruiter finds your LinkedIn profile, they are going to contact you and ask you for your resume. So the point of the LinkedIn profile is to get us calls for the jobs that we are going for and that we want. And then the resume, which is more of a formal presentation of our skills and our titles. And then, of course, your application, which is a binding agreement between you and the employer. That's where it's more important to exactly represent your title. On here, we're trying to get those calls. All right, so education. Education is very important because your degree, like for something like accounting, they're going to be looking for an accounting degree. So they may actually use this as a very important term when they search. Not everyone is as important. Not everybody has a degree that's as critical to the job, but for accounting, it's going to be very critical. Now you see dates attended. Let's see if we can avoid putting that. Right? It's not mandatory. Let's not do it. But degree, I'm going to want to do it. Bachelor's degree. We want to show that she has a bachelor's degree. Of course. All right. Accounting. Absolutely. All right. Grade. Don't worry about it. Look, it's not mandatory. Don't do it. Activities site. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. It's not, they're not going to search that way. You can fill this in if you want. But the point is, if I had to reiterate it again, is we want to get the calls for the jobs that we're desiring at this time. Okay, now licensure. Let's see where that was, because it originally asked me earlier. Let's go up and see if we have a box about licenses or certifications. Let's see. Look at all these boxes. Oh, there it is. Heck yeah. Yes, CPA. I don't know what the CPA. Let's see what it says. Accounting. Let's see, CPA. Let's just choose CPA.com. We would want to have this very specific. You want to put your license in here, the year that you got it. Go ahead. The certificate does not expire, so we're going to save it. That gets an important license out there. Let me tell you, if you have these critical type of license, you're going to want to do that. Okay, next. And this can be really important too, because we want to make sure we have the, okay, skill, yeah. Okay, remember how you can endorse people for their skills? This is one way to start adding them in. The thing is, you can only do these one by one. Wow, is that complicated? That really extends your time to complete this. If you don't have a lot of time and you want to make sure your keywords are out there, let's go straight up to the summary. Let's edit it. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the computer experience right in there. But if you have time, by all means, the thing is they're going to be able to find this. If they search for Cognos, a recruiter, search for Cognos, they're going to be finding or able to find this profile. Okay. You know what? We have now a profile that is optimized for a financial analyst forecasting position. Now, let's change the headline, because here's what's going to happen. The recruiter will find Lisa, in this case it's me in my dummy account here, but what I want you to do, or my test account if you will, what I want you to do is really punch it up here. Okay? I usually like really strong titles, like in this case forecasting and financial analysis for managerial decisions in the automotive industry. I mean, let's just punch it up if you want to. This is getting very specific though. So we might just want to put decision making, but if we really want a specific type of call, I mean, get really specific then. And then you save it. You can always change this if you say, oh, that looks too wordy, or I don't really like it, or obviously I've misspelled some of it. Then you just go back and, oh, okay. Decision making. Or you could say, like, for capital investments or something along those lines. So let's just look at that. I mean, play with it. Make it really punchy. You want to grab someone's attention. Now, there's something else I want to show you in here. Right now, this is going out to all my profiles. If you have connections that you want to be discreet about your changes to your profile, set this to no. It's less important that this information goes out to your current network than it is to reach the recruiters that we want to reach. Obviously, add languages. I just noticed that. That's important because you can really get great leads that way. Once again, if you have time, go ahead and add one skill at a time, but make sure it's in the summary. And then honors and awards. I mean, these are all good things. Go ahead through them. Just make sure whatever you put in here matches and speaks positively about your candidacy for the position. For the most part, though, this is all you need. This gets your whole resume out there. Okay, now let's go up to adding contacts. So if you're going to see here, you can log into your emails to add connections. Another way to do this is to go to your connections here, and right now it says you have no connections, but I will tell you, once you start adding people, it will send you co-connections, like other people who are related to the people that you're connected to. You may want to do a connection campaign. I do regularly have candidates that get interviews for jobs by doing a connection campaign, just a broad connection. They connect with everyone they can. And you know what's great about that is the person sees this profile. So this works really well for sales and marketing, anything that drives revenue. For accounting, it's a little more technical and may not work quite as good to do a connection campaign, but I actually highly recommend that you do this. So obviously, it's still prompting me for more information. You don't have to add more. And of course, the key here is to make sure that you are adding information that is going to bolster your chances of getting a call for the job that you want. And then what I also like right here is this gives us a verification that everything's in the order that we put it in. So this is your tutorial on how to create an optimized LinkedIn profile. It's that easy. Once you've done the work of identifying your core skill mixes and then writing your resume to the position, it's as easy as just plugging this into LinkedIn and making sure there's no conflicting data, and potentially even doing a connection campaign. And if you are working somewhere and don't want your current network to know about it, go ahead and set this to off so it doesn't push to them, so that you can have a discrete, passive job search that gets you calls for the jobs you want. And in review, these two areas are critically important: the location you want to target, the industry slash profession, your most recent title, so important right here, very important. And then also you want to use your summary of skills section and also the section that talks about what you've done to be loaded with the keywords that you identified in your positions. And then, of course, if you put in your time periods of working over the past 10 years, that will establish your years of experience. Okay. This has been a great tutorial. It's really that simple. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Alright, now the next thing we need to do is the job alerts and job systems and job boards. So important. That is the next module. We'll see you in the next module.